Hey, welcome back to the channel. In this video today, I'm going to show you how to adjust an interior door. Maybe it's misaligned, sagging, rubbing. This is common. It happens in a lot of homes over time. Stuff settles or the hinges were never installed properly with the right screw or the setup, which I'll get into. But I'll show you what I got going on with this door at the end of the hole. All right, here's the door I'm working on. I'll give you a little close up. So in this corner, the door's sitting pretty low. I can fit this screw in there easily. And then if I run it over, it immediately gets stuck. I'm gonna pull it back out. But pretty big gap there. And then it just gets really tight in this corner. I have a decent gap here. It's a little tighter there. It gets pretty tight up towards this corner. So this is all an inspection you can do to try to see how you need to adjust your door. And then this gap here gets tight, tight, tight. It's almost gone from here the rest of the way. And you know, when you open your door, try to shut it, it's actually rubbing. So it's making connection. The actual door is rubbing on the frame when I shut the door. So I need to adjust it. So the most common thing to check first is your top hinge. So actually most interior door hinge kits come with like one long screw and a bunch of like short 1-inch screws. I'll throw a picture of that up real quick. So yeah, if you get a good set of interior hinges for your door, it usually has at least one long screw, like 3-inch screw. And that's in order to get your top hinge all the way past like the door framing into like actual wall stud framing to support this upper hinge, because it holds most of the load. So when these doors settle or sag, it's often sagging left and down because this hinge takes most of the load. So there's a couple things you can do. You can tweak the hinge, which I may have to do, but the first thing I'm going to do is check the hinge screws. All right, and check these top hinge screws. So there are all these little 1-inch screws. I don't want to take that one out of the way. Yeah, another little 1-inch screw. I'll put this one back in for now because I don't want the door falling. Yeah, and another little 1-inch screw. So simply all I'm going to do for this step is I like to use the middle screw when I do this, but I'm going to take out this 1-inch screw and grab a 3-inch screw to install in that middle spot. Alright, so I just went and got a 3-inch screw that looks like it'll fit. So let's go ahead and get this installed. So I got that all the way seated, and it is nice and tight. All they are. So the normal 1-inch screws are here, and I have that 3-inch screw sucking the hinge in better, and all this wood framing to the actual stud. You know, the door trim framing is often shimmed in place in the rough opening. So now that screw is going all the way through the door trim or framing into a stud wall frame. And we're going to shut the door. See if so I'm still getting rubbing down there. You can hear it. But my gap here is already better. I can tell. Let me grab my measurement bolt I was using earlier. So I can no longer get this bolt in here at all. And I seem to have a much better even gap here at the top. So essentially what I've done is I've sucked the top of the door over. And you know, as the door rotates, this probably moved over a little, but not enough. It's still rubbing. So now I'm going to show you the other way you can adjust your hinges. And again, I have this large gap on this side. It's got a really tight gap on here. So what we're going to do is tweak these hinges. Now to do this, all you need is an adjustable wrench. And I'm going to use that, take out the hinge pin. So let's do that real quick. All right, I'm going to start here with my bottom hinge because it's the tightest down here, looking at the gap. And I think it's rubbing like right in this area. But the inside hinge has the 3 parts, and it's screwed to the door. The outside hinge is screwed to the door frame and has these 2 parts. and then this hinge bolt comes in from the top. So I'm just going to knock this out. I'm just going to use this little bolt and a hammer to tap the hinge bolt out. And then you should be able to pull it out the rest of the way. It's kind of snug in my case, so I'll hit it a little further. Got the hinge bolt out. So now I have some room to work here. And I'm just going to use a medium size. This is a, what is this? 8-inch adjustable crescent wrench. And so I want the whole door to move away slightly. So I want it to be away from the frame. So in this case, I'm going to adjust these middle two, which are on the hinge that's on the door frame, to try to push the door. When I put the pin back in, it'll move the door over with it. So all I'm going to do is tighten on the hinge right here, get it tight, and just tweak it slightly. And you can see the door is already starting to move and get angry. I'm going to do the same for the bottom one. It doesn't take much. Kind of just trial and error. Move it a little bit. Do it a couple times. And we'll put the pin back in and see if that helped. I just tweaked are now slightly to the inside, moved over. So now let's try to get the pin back in. You might have to move the door by the doorknob. Like I'll take the doorknob and try to move the door as I get this pin in. I got that pin back in. It's still a little tight. I do see some gap down at the bottom, but I'm still tight all in here. So I'm going to repeat the process for this middle hinge. Got all my hinge adjustments done. I can actually see a gap here now. It's still tight, but I did move it away, and it is no longer rubbing. So got it aligned better. Now I could have tweaked it some more to move the bottom over a little more, or sorry, this way, to try to even the gap between this side and this side, but I have enough for clearance, and that's all I was trying to do. So now my door doesn't rub, it's aligned. So yeah, only takes a few minutes to do some basic hand tools, but yeah, make sure you have a supporting long screw, and at least one of your hinges should be the top hinge. And you can use an adjustable wrench like that to kind of align your door better. But that's it for this one. Real easy to do yourself. Fix your sagging, rubbing, squeaky doors. All right, bye.